All right, ladies and gentlemen, for the people who have not been watching NBA, first off, I want to tell you, what are you doing? Go get League Pass, go get YouTube TV, go to Target, Walmart, Best Buy, go buy you an antenna, and possibly have to go to a website that we're not going to be talking about. But I'm getting off topic. If you have not been locked into basketball this season, there are 3 players who are playing at an MVP caliber type of way, and this is probably one of the better 3-man MVP races we have seen in a very long time. Yes, Nikola Jokic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and SGA are all putting up historical seasons, and right now you can make a case that all 3 of them are playing at MVP caliber levels that in any other year they may have won MVP, and I'm going to tell you why. All 3 of these players are showing such a value to their teams that you may not be able to replicate anywhere else. I mean, Nikola Jokic is taking a team that is pretty far off on talent without him, and then you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is playing at such a high level on both sides of the basketball for the Milwaukee Bucks, who also started off the season very poorly, and then you have SGA, who's playing at the level that he is without his second best player. All 3 of these guys are showing that their volume cannot be matched across the league. This season, SGA is averaging 31 points per game, 5.5 rebounds a game, and 6 assists on 53, 35, 88 splits, and 64% true shooting. And when I talk about all 3 of these guys, these are guys that are all top 5 scorers in the NBA. All of these guys have something that cannot be stopped. And for SGA, it's the mid-range. SGA just has a level of shot creation that almost can't be matched. When he's driving to the rim, it's always like something good is going to happen. When he stops on a dime and pulls up from mid-range, when he fades away from mid-range, the way he's able to attract multiple defenders in the in-between game, and how he provides a level of high-level offense with a mid-range shot, with people saying that one of the mid-range shots is one of the worst shots in basketball. He's been able to be one of the most efficient volume scorers in the NBA over the past 3 seasons, and this season it looks like it's really come to show. This season, SGA is shooting 73% in the restricted area as a 6'6 guard. He's also shooting 54% from the mid-range. He averages about 21 drives per game, is averaging about 15 points per game off drives alone, and has a 72% point percentage. And let's not forget that SGA is playing the best basketball he has almost ever played, and he doesn't even have his second best player in Chet Holmgren. SGA has had to deal with the responsibility of almost carrying his team to a number 1 seed in the Western Conference without a defensive player of the year candidate and somebody that looked like they took a major offensive leap in Chet Holmgren, which is the second best player on the OKC Thunder. This season, without Chet Holmgren, SGA has averaged 34 points per game on 54, 38, 87 splits, and 66% true shooting. Let's also not forget that the Oklahoma City Thunder have not lost an entire game in December, and SGA is averaging 33 points throughout that stretch as well. He has continued to show his dominance from day 1 to now for the Oklahoma City Thunder, and this type of game also translates to the playoffs perfectly. All the questions that have been surrounded by SGA last season over if this type of play can carry on to the playoffs and he can still be efficient as he is during the regular season, he answered against the Dallas Mavericks team that had a perfect scheme against this Oklahoma City Thunder team, and with his co-stars in Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren not having the best shooting series. I am absolutely confident that SGA is going to be able to hold up this type of play for the next few seasons. So, before we move on to the next player, who's your MVP? Is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander your MVP? Nikola Jokic won an MVP last season after averaging 26 points per game, 12.5 rebounds a game, and 9 assists for the 2-seeded Denver Nuggets. And after an MVP has won 3 MVPs out of the past 4 seasons, it would be really hard for Nikola Jokic to come in this season and be a favorite to win his 3rd straight MVP in 4 out of the past 5 seasons. But I think it's safe to say that Nikola Jokic is having one of the greatest offensive seasons the league has ever seen. This season, Nikola Jokic is averaging 31 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, and 10 assists a night on 56% from the field, 49% from 3, 80% from the line, and a 65% true shooting. Just when we thought it was impossible for Nikola Jokic to put up a better season, substantially enough for him to win another MVP, he comes out and puts up historical numbers. After losing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope to the Orlando Magic, there was a lot of questions around this Denver Nuggets team about about how good they will be since they keep losing key players in the offseason. And the Denver Nuggets have had their questions all year. It was, how good can Jamal Murray be without Nikola Jokic? How good would their bench be without KCP and Bruce Brown, guys they have lost in previous off seasons? How good could Russell Westbrook fit with Nikola Jokic with any minutes of them playing together? How good would their shooting be? How good would these young players be that they're going to be putting a lot of trust in, like Julian Strawther, Christian Brown, and Peyton Watson? But let's just say, according to the numbers, Nikola Jokic has been one of the most valuable players the league has ever seen. Over the past 5 seasons, including this season, Nikola Jokic has led the league in player efficiency rating. In 2020 to 2021, it was 31.3. In 21-22, it was 32.8. In 22-23, it was 31.5. 23-24, it was 31. And at 2024 and 2025, it was 32.1. And if you ask me, out of all 3 of these players, Nikola Jokic is the only one that can be in conversations for the best scorer in the NBA, the best rebounder in the NBA, and the best playmaker and passer in the entire NBA. And if you ask me, outside of Nikola Jokic, there may not have been much other NBA players in NBA history who can put themselves in conversations for all 3 big categories offensively. Not only has Nikola Jokic been averaging a 31-point triple-double, he's been one of the most efficient scorers in the NBA as well. He's a 95th percentile spot-up player, a 92th percentile transition player, and a 90th percentile roll man. He's shooting 49% on catch-and-shoot mid-range shots, 52% on catch-and-shoot threes, and he's top 10 in field goal attempts in the clutch, shooting 53% a game. And when I mentioned earlier about all of these players having something that cannot be stopped, Nikola Jokic having 2 feet in the paint with his back to the basket is damn near unguardable. And one of the biggest conversations around Nikola Jokic this season has been the below average play with his team surrounding him. Nikola Jokic put up a historical stat line against the Washington Wizards, and they lost. To a team that has 6 wins on the season, they lost. Nikola Jokic had 56 points, 14 rebounds, and 8 assists. And a lot of the conversation around Nikola Jokic should not be an MVP is because of his team record and how the Denver Nuggets have been extremely underwhelming this season. And that has always been very disingenuous to me, because in the Western Conference, if you win 5 straight, you can climb from 8th to 2. If you lose 5 straight, you can fall from 2 to 8. So until the seeding is a little bit more defined, we cannot crown an MVP based off wins and losses. And something else that I would like to provide to you guys is the MVP is the most valuable player in the league. And for Nikola Jokic, the numbers reflect his value for the Denver Nuggets. This season, with Nikola Jokic on the floor for the Denver Nuggets, this team has a 126 offensive rating. That is good enough to be the best offense in the league by a 5-point margin. And without Nikola Jokic on the floor for the Denver Nuggets, they have a 100 offensive rating. And that is the worst in the NBA by a 5-point margin. I don't know what more Nikola Jokic can do for this Denver Nuggets team for him to prove his value to the NBA haters that he has. So before we move on, is Nikola Jokic your MVP? Giannis Antetokounmpo has been having one of his better seasons of all time. And when the Milwaukee Bucks started 2-7, Giannis did not get a lot of noise for the MVP conversation. This season, he's been averaging 33 points per game, 12 rebounds a night, and 6 assists on 63% true shooting. This is another year where we could say this is the best offensive season we have gotten from Giannis Antetokounmpo, and it may not be close. Giannis Antetokounmpo has still thrived in the restricted area. He has still strived in transition. He has still strived as a roll man, but now he's striving as a shooter. This season, Giannis Antetokounmpo is shooting 47% from mid-range. He's shooting 59% from shots from 10 to 16 feet, and he's shooting 44% on shots from 16 feet to the three-point line. And with Giannis Antetokounmpo's play in the NBA Cup, there have been some serious conversations that he belongs in these MVP conversations. Now that the Milwaukee Bucks have clawed their way back into the playoff race, Giannis Antetokounmpo's MVP case has only gotten larger. And once again, we can use this for Giannis Antetokounmpo as well. He has a part of his game that you simply just cannot stop. This season, Giannis Antetokounmpo is averaging about 13 drives per game while shooting 61% from the field on those drives. He gets about 6 paint touches per game and shooting 70% on them as well. He's also averaging 12.5 restricted area shots per game, and he's averaging 73% on those shots as well. I think this has been one of the best defensive seasons we've seen from Giannis over the past few seasons. Over the last few years, it's looked like Giannis has lost a step as a rim protector, as a perimeter defender, and it looks like those have come back this season. Giannis Antetokounmpo has been an extremely well help side rim protector this season, and he's made defensive strides this season that's helped the Milwaukee Bucks win the NBA Cup, and it's also helped them become a much better team over the past few weeks. In that stretch where they went 10-1 and got back into the playoff stretch, the Milwaukee Bucks were a top 10 defense, and a lot of that has to do with the play of Giannis Antetokounmpo. All three of these players have put up monster seasons so far, and we're only just a little bit over a third into the NBA season. I don't see any of these players slowing down at all, and this is going to be such an exciting MVP race for all three players. I think all three of these players are going to lead their teams to a very comfortable spot in the playoffs, whether it's in the East or West, and their value has been extremely put forth for all of their teams. Whether it's Nikola Jokic thriving with a team that may not play as good at all without him on the floor, whether it's SGA continuing to thrive with all the injuries that the Thunder have been through and not having his second best player in Chet Holmgren, or whether it's Giannis Antetokounmpo bringing his team back into the playoffs after that horrendous start to the season. So, ladies and gentlemen, who do you feel like is your MVP? Do you think it's Nikola Jokic averaging a 30-point triple-double and being the most valuable player in the NBA by far? Do you think it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading his team to the #1 seed in the Western Conference and averaging 30-plus points on extremely efficient shots? Or is it Giannis Antetokounmpo, the guy who pulled his team from the bottom of the Eastern Conference into a comfortable playoff spot and has made improvements as a shooter and as a defender this season? Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section. And if you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We just made 1,000 subs, and we're going to continue to post consistent content and try to get it out as daily as much as I can. And with that being said, I'm out. Peace.